How's it going? Now, over the course of history, there's been a lot of guns used. M16s, carbines, a lot of different assortment of guns. Rifles, automatic guns, pistols even. I want to figure out what is the best gun ever used. So, I bring to you today, the gun tier list. Starting us off strong is an American-made gun, the M16. Now, you may debate in the comments about how good this gun really was. It was effective, if well-maintained. Now, this one word, if well maintained, always stuck in my brain, because I've heard people argue the M16's reliability over, let's say, the AK-47, where, if well maintained, it can be more reliable. But, is that truly reliable? Because you're well maintaining it, that's not reliability, that's instead just a gun properly functioning when properly used. As it was proven in Vietnam, the M16 was far more unreliable than a lot of other guns that were able to be given to the soldiers. From jamming issues to them making the gun automatic so soldiers didn't know how to fire it properly because they didn't give them proper training to fire an automatic weapon. This gun wasn't bad. It actually was used quite efficiently afterwards when they figured out that they need to turn it into a burst fire because giving a regular soldier automatic weapons usually doesn't work out. Giving a soldier an automatic weapon, when in heat of battle, they'll usually flip it to automatic and become incredibly inaccurate with their fire, causing them just to not hit anything. Or, if it was dropped in the mud, it would have a jamming issue. That's not reliability, that's because it wasn't able to be well maintained in a combat scenario. Of course, the gun wasn't bad, so I'm not going to do it dirty and put it low on the tier list. I'm going to put the M16 at B tier. Because of its reliability issues and its automatic fire rate that it was given to every single soldier in Vietnam, it truly couldn't perform well, and wouldn't perform well when it was given in the scenario it was given in. Now, let's talk about its counterpart, the AK-47. The AK-47 was well known for its reliability, being able to be dragged through mud, dragged through ice, dragged through water, and still fire. This gun had the opposite of the reliability issue, where it was too reliable at a point. So good at a point that children can even fire the thing without even knowing how to properly fire a gun beforehand. Now, it comes with its own host of issues. The modifications on it, you can't really easily modify an AK-47. There's not many slots for it. Of course, later on they made adjustments that allowed you to put scopes and suppressors and a lot of assortment of things on it. But those only came later on. I mean the AK-47, the original. Along with its reliability, it came cheaper than an M16 by a long shot, so they could make thousands of them, pump them out, and then use them. If they even broke, they just get a new one. The AK-47, along with that, fired a larger round than the M16, that being a rifle round, ending up doing more damage than what you'd expect an automatic rifle to do. Now, this one's going to piss my M16 lovers off, because I'm going to put the AK-47 higher than the M16. I'm going to put this at A tier. It is truly a good gun. You cannot argue with its reliability over the M16. It was proven in Vietnam, and you can argue with me over that as much as you want. But it's true. Now, let's bring it back a little bit to the First World War, where we only saw semi-automatic rifles or bolt actions used in combat, mainly. The first one on here is going to be the M1903 Springfield, the American-made rifle. Believe it or not, this gun actually had a patent stolen from the Gevir 98, causing them to pay reparations. This gun was very well performing, and that's why they used it for so long. They used it up to World War II until they realized they needed to get out of the bolt-action game. This gun did prove extremely reliable and extremely efficient in all combat it saw. You cannot argue with how well it did. Big but here, it was stolen from the Gevir 98's patent, so it automatically can't be higher than the Gevir 98 in my eyes, because it was a stolen gun concept. With that information given, let's rank it on the tier list. I'm going to put the Springfield 1903 at B tier. Due to the fact that it was a stolen patent, it was a good gun, though. It was a very well-functioning firearm. Another World War I rifle that was really well-performing, still used today, actually, in current conflicts, the Mosin Nagant. Very effective. In fact, it's still used in the Ukraine war. It's not a stolen patent, and it's cheap. It's actually cheaper than the 1903 Springfield. Of course, I'm not bringing this in with the context that it's being used in current conflict. I'm bringing this with the context as it was used in World War I. So we're going to say it was a really good rifle for that time. For nowadays, it's not as good. They really shouldn't be using a rifle that was made over a century ago in a current conflict. It's not very effective anymore against automatic rifles, semi-automatic rifles, things that really just outdate it completely. I can't just ignore that they're still using it today, unlike the 1903 Springfield, which has been completely outdated and is now just a piece of history in our firearms history. It didn't perform as well as a Gavir 98 or as well as a 1903 Springfield, but it still functioned just good enough for the Russian military to use during that time. I, of course, am going to factor in the fact that it's still used today. So, let's put it on the tier list. I'm going to put this at C tier, due to the fact that they still appear to think that this rifle is useful today. I'm going to be the one to say it. The Mosin Nagant will kill somebody, yes. Not effectively, though. Not nearly as effectively as a new sniper rifle or something that with a scope. Because I'm fairly sure you can't really scope a Mosin Nagant as easily as you can scope other bolt-action rifles. But, of course, you can. It can still hold a scope. It's just it has a very predestined scope that you have to use. Of course, I'm not going to go this entire time talking about these bolt-action rifles without talking about the Gavir 98. I've been talking about it the whole time. It is truly the best rifle of its time. There is one glaring issue. That's that it was double the cost of the 1903 Springfield. That in itself can be a huge issue for logistical reasons when you're at war with a weapon that's extremely expensive. Might be a contributing cause to World War I and World War II losing for the Germans. But its performance was so outmatched by any rifle that it truly was worth its more expensive price. This rifle was almost perfect. The only issues that arise when we talk about this rifle is its extreme cost compared to other rifles. Continuity break. Sorry, my recording stopped for some odd reason. But either way, the Gavir 98 rifle was an extremely effective rifle, and despite its extreme cost, it was still found extremely useful. So, let's put it on a tier list. I'm going to put this rifle at S tier. It is near perfect. The only thing that arises as an issue in my head is that price. That's the only reason I put it at a low S tier. It is nearing A tier because of that extreme price point. Of course, I can't go the entire tier list without talking about a pistol, or at least a few pistols. So, let's talk about the 1911, one of the most well-known pistols throughout history. This pistol was extremely effective. Still extremely effective today, and people love it today, especially. It's a very vintage weapon that we like, and a very effective weapon that was used in the yesteryears. Maybe you're not like me and you like revolvers more, but the 1911 semi-automatic pistol could be fired 8 times without any problem, and then it would barely jam. It had very good reliability, and there were very few issues to arise. Just like the Gavir 98, though, it has the issue with a price point, because it was $13.50 to produce a single one. That is the same price as it costed to make a M1903 Springfield. Now, when you have a price that's the same as a rifle, it's a bit of a struggle to, convince you to not just take the rifle over the pistol. Because pistols, of course, don't have much range. They only have, an effective range of about 100 yards. This is a very sought-after weapon, though. It's extremely expensive today due to the fact that they no longer produce it. Compared to the pistols of its time, like a Mauser or I forget what the fucking Russians used during World War I as their sidearm. It was unmatched and was in a completely different realm. It truly was ahead of its time, and still feels like it would work today as a sidearm for a soldier in current combat. Maybe that's just me thinking that, but I'm going to put it on a tier list. The 1911 I'm going to put at A tier. It is a near perfect pistol. It just only had the issue of price point. Of course, you can't take that completely away. It costs the same as a fucking rifle. If it costs the same as a rifle to produce, why not make the rifle that can fire 500 yards over 100 yards like a pistol? You can see my point there, I hope. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you have any arguments about what I said, I'd be surprised. But also, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'm willing to talk about it. Everybody have a good day. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Peace out. I'll make another video soon. That's a lie.